He stood in the pocket, 70,000 people screaming his name. 4 Pro Bowl selections, 34,000 passing yards. A passer rating so elite that to this day, only 3 quarterbacks in NFL history have ever finished their careers with a higher number. Tony Romo was the heartbeat of America's team. But here's the part nobody talks about, the part that changes everything when you really sit with it. He never got drafted, not in the 7th round, not in the 6th, not at all. Every single team in the National Football League passed on him. 259 players heard their names called before he did, and his name was never called. No scholarship offers out of high school. A partial scholarship to a tiny FC's school nobody cared about. An invitation to the NFL Combine only as an afterthought to throw warm-up passes to other prospects. An undrafted free agent contract worth almost nothing. That was Tony Romo's beginning. But before the fame, before the 4 Pro Bowls and the franchise records, there was a moment when even his own coaches didn't think he could play. This is the story of Tony Romo and how he went from a kid no one wanted to the most dangerous quarterback in the NFL without ever being drafted. April 21, 1980, San Diego, California. His father, Ramiro, is a Navy man. His mother, Joan, a grocery store clerk. Tony is the youngest of 3 kids, and before he can even walk steadily, his dad is shipped back to Burlington, Wisconsin, a small town most famous for being the home of a Nestle chocolate factory. This is Chocolate City, USA. Ramiro Romo works construction. Joan works the checkout line. They don't have money to send their son to elite football camps or private coaching sessions. Tony doesn't have a famous uncle in the league. There are no scouts coming to Burlington High School to find the next great NFL quarterback. What he does have, what he's always had, is an obsession. Not just with football, with every sport he touches. Baseball, basketball, golf, tennis. By the time he's a junior in high school, Tony Romo is averaging 24.3 points a game in basketball and is the all-time leading scorer in Burlington High School history. He earns all-state recognition in 3 different sports, the first athlete in school history to do that. But football? Football is the thing that keeps him up at night. There's a trait that defines Tony Romo from the beginning, one that will explain every single thing that happens to him later in this story. He refuses to stop competing. Not because someone told him to, because he physically cannot help himself. Even when the competition is against himself, especially then. His dad sees it early. Tony throws a football in the driveway until his arm aches. He goes back inside, eats dinner, then goes back out in the dark. When there's no one to throw to, he throws anyway. He is building something, he just doesn't know yet that nobody else can see it. As a 2-year starter at Burlington High School, Romo throws for 3,700 yards and 42 touchdowns. He earns All-State Honors honorable mention as a junior, first team as a senior. By any reasonable measure, this is a Division I prospect. But the letters don't come. Wisconsin doesn't call. No Big Ten school calls. Not a single Division I program offers him a scholarship. The recruiters see a kid from a small town, at a small school, who started playing football seriously only in his junior year. The basketball stats are great, but basketball schools want him for basketball. Tony Romo, one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history, sits by a phone that never rings. The only offer that comes is a partial scholarship from Eastern Illinois University, a Division I Oz school in Charleston, Illinois. Not exactly the stage he imagined. He takes it anyway. Because that's the only move he has. When Tony Romo arrives at Eastern Illinois, his new coaches aren't impressed either. Roy Whitkey, AU's offensive coordinator, would later say it plainly. He was raw. He didn't know how to practice, or how to compete in practice to make himself better. The coaches considered moving him to tight end. The coaches essentially told this kid, the one who had driven 4 hours from home with a partial scholarship and a head full of dreams, that he might not even be able to play quarterback. That becomes the fuel. The coaches at Eastern were incredibly tough on Tony, said his college teammate Tom Brewer. They didn't think he could play, period. Most guys fold under that. Most guys transfer, or quit, or find a reason to walk away. Tony Romo stayed, and he worked. There is always one person in a great story who sees what nobody else sees. For Tony Romo, that person was Roy Whitkey, the same coach who said he was raw. Because even as Whitkey pushed him, even as he questioned whether Romo could play, he never stopped coaching him. And then there was Sean Payton. Sean Payton had played quarterback at Eastern Illinois himself, years before. By 2003, he was the assistant head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. When the NFL Combine came around that February, Romo wasn't even invited as a real prospect. He was brought in as an extra arm to throw passes to wide receivers during drills. A prop. A human pitching machine. But Peyton watched every throw. He showed Romo's tape to head coach Bill Parcells. He told anyone who would listen, "This guy is different." That single connection, a former AO quarterback recognizing something in a current one, would change the entire story. Romo becomes the starter in his sophomore year, and the transformation is almost immediate. 2000, he completes nearly 60% of his passes for 2,583 yards and 27 touchdowns. Second in all of Division I AA in passing efficiency. Ohio Valley Conference Player of the Year. 2001, he leads the conference with a 178.3 passer rating. Three-time All-American. 2002, his senior season. He throws for 3,165 yards, 34 touchdowns, a new conference record, and leads Eastern Illinois to an 8-4 record and a third consecutive FC's playoff appearance. And then, in December 2002, Tony Romo does something no player from Eastern Illinois had ever done before. He wins the Walter Payton Award, the Heisman Trophy of FC's football. The best player in the entire division. The kid nobody wanted is now the best player in his world. But his world is about to get a whole lot bigger. And the rejections? They're not done yet. April 2003. The NFL Draft. Round 1. His name isn't called. Round 2. Silence. Round 3, 4, 5, 6, nothing. Round 7. The final round. The last chance. 259 players selected. Tony Romo is not one of them. He sits there and waits, and waits, and waits. The phone rings. It's Sean Payton. "We want you. Come to Dallas." At the same moment, Denver Broncos head coach Mike Shanahan, another AU connection, is calling too. It becomes absurdly a bidding war for an undrafted free agent. Tony Romo gets a meeting with Bill Parcells and Jerry Jones, a privilege almost never given to undrafted players. He signs with Dallas. Minimum contract. No guarantees. Third on the depth chart behind Quincy Carter and Chad Hutchinson. In his first year, he doesn't take a single meaningful snap. 2003 to 2005, 3 years on the bench. In 2004, the Cowboys bring in Vinny Testaverde, a 15-year veteran, and trade a third-round draft pick for Drew Henson. Jerry Jones is actively trying to find the quarterback of the future, and it is clearly not Tony Romo. Romo's job during this stretch? Holder for field goals and extra points. He holds the ball so the kicker can kick it. That's it. That's his contribution. Meanwhile, the doubts pile up. The Cowboys shuffle through quarterbacks like a deck of cards. Reporters don't write about Romo because there's nothing to write. He is, to the football world, nobody. What they don't see, what nobody sees, is what happens after practice every day. Romo stays on the field alone. He throws hundreds of passes by himself, simulating defensive pressure, throwing off his back foot, from awkward angles, over and over. He doesn't do this because a coach told him to. He does it because he cannot stop himself. When Romo finally gets his chance in October 2006, replacing Drew Bledsoe mid-season, the reaction is electric. He wins 3 of his first 4 starts. The Cowboys surge. They make the playoffs for the first time in years. America's team is back. And then comes the moment that will haunt Tony Romo forever. January 6, 2007, wild card game against the Seattle Seahawks. The Cowboys trail by 3, 18 seconds left. Tony Romo is the holder for a 19-yard field goal that will tie the game. He takes the snap. The ball slips. He tries to improvise, scrambling toward the end zone. He's tackled short of the goal line. Game over. The headlines are savage. Sports radio destroys him. Critics say the Cowboys season, the entire resurrection of a franchise, died in Tony Romo's fumbling hands. One mistake, one moment, judged by all of it. He flies to Mexico with his then-girlfriend the following weekend. The photos surface. The criticism doubles. The narrative is already being written. Tony Romo cannot win the big one. And then he comes back. 2007. The Cowboys go 12-1 in their first 13 games, the best record in franchise history. Romo throws for 4,211 yards and 36 touchdowns. First division title in 9 years. Second Pro Bowl. 2009. Career high 4,483 yards, a new Cowboys franchise record. Leads Dallas to its first playoff win in 14 years. Third Pro Bowl. 2010. Fractures his clavicle, misses 10 games. Comes back. 2012. shatters the single-season Cowboys passing record with 4,903 yards. Team finishes 8-8. The not clutch label sticks anyway. 2014, the best season of his career, a 113.2 passer rating, the highest in the NFL that year, 34 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, second team All-Pro, fourth Pro Bowl. Cowboys win the division. And then his collarbone breaks again. He misses the NFC Championship window. 2015, broken collarbone again, 4 games into the season. The Cowboys go 4,012 without him. 2016, a broken bone in his back in the preseason. He fights back to the active roster, but rookie Dak Prescott has taken over a team that goes 13-3. There is no starting spot to return to. The NFL doesn't always give you a third act. Sometimes it just takes your second one before you're ready to let go. In the years when his body held together, Tony Romo was the most dangerous quarterback in football. His Cowboys team records tell one story: most passing touchdowns in franchise history, most passing yards, most games with 300 or more yards. 4,000-yard seasons, the only quarterback in Cowboys history to hit that mark even once, let alone 4 times. His fourth-quarter passer rating from 2006 to 2013 was higher than any other quarterback in the league. When the game was on the line and the pressure was at its maximum, the place where the critics said he couldn't perform, he was statistically the best in the business. He engineered 29 game-winning drives over the course of his career, and he earned $127.4 million in the NFL, every dollar of it from a team that never drafted him. 34,183 passing yards, 248 touchdowns, a 97.1 career passer rating, the highest ever recorded by a quarterback who never started a Super Bowl, and the 4th highest in NFL history at the time of his retirement. 2,829 completions over 156 games. 4 Pro Bowl selections. 1 second-team All-Pro, division titles in 2007 and 2014. In 2021, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame, representing a school that had given him only a partial scholarship from a conference the big programs barely acknowledged. Tony Romo owns more Cowboys franchise records than Troy Aikman, than Roger Staubach, than any quarterback who ever wore that star. Not bad for someone nobody wanted. When Romo stood at the podium in April 2017 to announce his retirement, he didn't talk about the fumbled snap. He didn't talk about the injuries. He didn't talk about never reaching the Super Bowl. He talked about what the game gave him. The teammates. The moments. The chance to compete at the highest level, a chance that by every measure, he was never supposed to get. I played in the greatest stadium in the world, he said, voice barely steady, in front of the greatest fans in the world. He was a kid from Burlington, Wisconsin. He never got drafted. He held for field goals for 3 years. And he became the face of America's team. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe and check out more videos right here.